Cowboy Nation. Coach Marv is going on live with you uh, for a few minutes. I think I'm on live on YouTube, not Twitter. I'm gonna repost something to Twitter. Um, Once I put a thumbnail to this, and I'm gonna repost this to Twitter. Um, but wanted to let you know that I'm on live. I'm gonna get these headphones working. If you're out there in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me well. Um, Still trying to get this video quality together, but I wanted to come on live for a few seconds and talk to you for when I get some information and I get excited about it and I want to make sure I get it out there to the public. Also want to tell people, a lot of people, man, for been getting a lot of comments and a lot of people that join the channel. Want to make sure you like and comment and subscribe and share this information because we're trying to get it out into the nation and trying to make sure that we get into the algorithms. But going on live today, if you could probably gonna see the comment is we're gonna talk very briefly about Michael Irvin's visit to OTAs, and very interesting thing that Michael that Schottenheimer has instituted is that he's trying to bring the legends back to invited all the legends back to to the to the new place because most of the real legends was not formed, didn't have a training or have the facilities of the Star. They was in Valley Ranch, and the Cowboys has been very gracious in being taking care of their players, that making sure their players have been a part of the organization. Um, but in this last reign of with McCarthy, we didn't hear a lot of them. We heard of them helping out, but we didn't hear about this nature of him bringing everybody in and having them in the building um, as you know to give some knowledge. Now, you got to be very careful with this. He's not bringing these guys in to coach these guys. Sometimes when we bring veteran guys in or past people from the organization or people that's in from that has some history with the a program, um, I think sometimes we get um, confused when we think they're coming in to coach. They're not coming in to coach. Uh, they're going to allow the coaches to do what they do. I think it's very important when you bring in these guys here because what they can explain to the Cowboys and to the Cowboy team culture and help with the culture is they can show this team and give them insights of being on the sun. Now you say, well, coach, what you talking about being on the sun? The Cowboys players are always from the beginning of the Cowboys organization. There's always been on the sun. They have always the Star is like the sun. Everything is evolves around, and it's not being arrogant and saying everything does evolves around the Cowboys, but you're talking about the biggest star in the NFL. Now that don't mean that they had the best team and we got the best, we got the most Super Bowls or we got the best team right now. But there's not a station, there's not a newscast that don't have a story about the Dallas Cowboys. If anything happens in Dallas, it's national news and it's going to be the lead story in every sports show. And that's just facts. That's not, that's not being arrogant, but that's just facts because we're a very polarizing team and we are the star And I always say, I always tell people what the star means. The star means seen, talked about relentlessly. The S stands for seen. The T stands for talk. The A stands for about. And the R stands for relentlessly. That's what we are. Seen, talked about relentlessly. So Schottenheimer bringing in these legends to give this young team, even though they know these people, but they want, what he wants to do is he wants to bring that vibe to this young team of showing them that, hey, we always been on front stage, but we knew how to handle these legends, knew how to handle the front stage, but be totally focused about football. That's important. See, you can have 53 brands, but you got to be focused on one thing about winning. That's the key in Dallas. Can we be focused in about winning? And then when he came out, he talked about some very key things when he after his interview. He talked about he said something about that Michael Irvin said it ain't gonna be about talent. And who you heard that from? You've been following my live stream. You heard me say that. It's not all about talent. And he talked about culture. He talked about the pressure. He's talked about, Schottenheimer, the basketball goal that he has in there with the line and them shooting free throws is about pressure and competition. It is about, Michael talked about, it's about how you play under pressure, because you're in the most pressure-packed situation in the league. There's no doubt about that. But so you got to be able to, that's why I say it takes a special type of coach. I don't know how many times y'all probably heard Coach Marv say that on live streams, on watch parties. It takes a special type of coach. Here, it doesn't take an X's and O coach. Yes, X's and O's are important. That's what your coordinators do. It takes a psychologist, a person that knows how to get everything out of a team. Yes. It sounds like he was talking about the culture and building the culture, but about the pressure. And remember, Coach, I had a show, my first show. We talked about building the building blocks of a new culture, and I said Schottenheimer has to work on those building blocks. And I had the first one was physicality. We talked about physicality, but this is not a setting about physicality culture, because you ain't gotten in the time that we with the past yet. It is a somewhere the number 2 in that list of the discipline aspect, but they're not really they're doing some discipline aspect type things. But Michael Irvin wasn't talking about that part of the culture. He was talking about why they was brought there, and they were brought there to talk about what it's going to take for a Cowboy player to win in this setting, and they were talking about this one. They were talking about mental toughness. Because that's what it takes when you're under pressure and you're in a pressure-packed situation. When you got all eyes on, like Tupac said, all eyes on me. I got haters hoping that I fail. And I got the rest of the crowd hoping I win. But there's nobody in between. Whatever I do wrong, they're going to magnify it. Whatever I do right, they're going to glorify for a little while, and then they're going to try to tear it down. This number 3 in my building blocks of a culture, this is what Schottenheimer is reaching for with these legends. He's reaching to get these guys to understand the mental toughness of the culture you must have in Dallas to win. And we didn't have that. Because you could tell we didn't have that for the inconsistencies in our play. This is what he's reaching for. He's reaching for this. He's been dealing with every aspect of those building blocks. Now, he might not say it. Nobody would tell, but me as being in football as long as I've been in, being in certain situations that I've been, it is not all about football. These are the building blocks in some ways of your life. Yes, we say with physicality. No, you got to be tough. You got to be disciplined. You got to have mental toughness. You got to lean on people that's good that's good leaders in your life. And then you got to work on your talent. So this is what Schottenheimer is trying to do. He's trying to bring these guys in here to teach these guys that, hey, one, I'm going to show you, because some of you guys have been this around. Y'all ain't never seen the Cowboys win in y'all entire life. It's been 30 years. So probably none of the players on the team, except maybe a couple of them, maybe ever celebrated for a Cowboys championship. So what he has to do, he's bringing people in that give them some people that they can see tangible, that have experience climbing the mountain in Dallas, because it's different in Dallas. I know some people out here looking at when they send my stuff out. Some people out here who are haters are gonna say, "Oh, well, coach don't know what he's talking about. This is Dallas ain't all that." No, it's different. When you talk about ratings, Dallas get why? Dallas could be 1-15, 1-16, and they still won't have primetime games the next year. You're talking about a 7-10 team that everybody talked about was not good. Everybody talked about was not good. Talking about, listen, 7-10 team. These crazy people already here got Dak Prescott as the 17th best quarterback in the league. I cannot understand when a guy didn't even play because he was hurt, go from second runner-up to MVP to the 17th best quarterback after the season he got hurt on just a hamstring, not a knee, not a shoulder, on a hamstring. And when he got hurt, he wasn't having a bad season. But now he's the 17th best quarterback. And guess what? After all that, we still got just as many primetime games than anybody else in the NFL. The pressure is different in Dallas. And if you don't have these building blocks that I have been preaching on every live show I did, this is probably video for coach number 14 in this new endeavor that I'm out in. And every day, fellas, these building blocks that I have presented 12 days ago, from 3 weeks ago, are coming to fruition every day. And I hope y'all keep seeing them. You're going to see a physical component. You're going to see a discipline component, because he's going to start with the discipline. And Michael Irvin talked about the mental culture, and he was talking about the mental toughness part of being able to perform under pressure. Let me speak on something else about mental toughness. Mental toughness is not always dealing with adversity. You got to be just as mentally tough not to get too high or too into yourself when you're doing well. You got to fight that urge of being too cocky. Mentally, you got to be tough enough to understand that you only good as the last play. You only good as the last game. I heard somebody, Dwayne, you was listening to the watching the Michael Irvin thing, and I want you to comment in the chat. Remember, he kept saying the toughness to win over and over and over and over again. He didn't say win one time. He said win over and over and over again. That takes mental toughness to continue to dominate over and over and over again. Don't you know when Cowboys play any opponent, that's their Super Bowl? There is no, listen, and they don't care if the Cowboys got a great record or a losing record. They're giving the Cowboys their best game. So we're seeing the mental toughness part that's in my 5 things of building a culture, a solid culture. Yes, you're going to build some things on top of this, but this is the foundation blocks of a solid culture. And that's where these people are in here for number 3. Now, do we need to build a culture for fans? Now I'm going to get some people upset. Do our fans need a different culture? Because I'm telling you, our fans had a different culture when we was winning, when we was dominating, when we winning Super Bowls. Because guess what? People couldn't get us off our mark back in the 90s or the 70s. What you say, some people say, what you talking about, coach, get us off our mark? All these fake stories. Well, one, the media wasn't, we didn't have this YouTube thing. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have such a more media frenzy as we have now. But don't get me wrong. Don't get it wrong or twisted. Whatever the media source was, Dallas led the way. If it was newspapers, we had the more stories. If it was whatever the highlight of coverage was, Dallas was at the lead front. And that's not being bragging, but that's why they put them on Thursday why they put the Cowboys on Thanksgiving every year. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna change. They don't even need to put the Cowboys overseas. The Cowboys ain't played an overseas game. Why? Because the people overseas already know the Cowboys. Yes. Do we need a cultural change for our fan base and not get off our point? Yes. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Stop following stories about who gonna be, and I'm not getting at nobody. Stop even following stories or even talking about at this point in time about who gonna give money and when and who's gonna be here and what the Jones is gonna do with free agency or whatever. Why are we even putting that in our guys' head to talk about something we haven't even played this season yet? I don't care nothing about Bland signing next year. Guess what? If the Cowboys really want a player, they never left. Everybody who left, they had gotten to probably the end of the road, but had a little bit less juice in the tank. But if they didn't want them, they let them go. Any player that they got to bid for, if they want him, he already signed. Let me give you a case in point this year. Michael Parsons is not a free agent. There is no bidding war between nobody else. He's already signed with the Cowboys, so he's not going nowhere. So, yes, they're going to sign him to extension, but it's not no bidding war. Dak Prescott never had a bidding war. Only thing they had to do is sign him a contract. He didn't get no other offers with nobody. He couldn't get no other offers with nobody. CeeDee Lamb couldn't get no other offers from nobody else. Now let's move to a case in point that tells you when you can be on the free market, how fast a deal get done. Osa was about to not have no contract. How fast that contract got done? I'll wait. Because if they want him, they're not getting in no bidding war. They're going to do what they need to do to get the deal done. If there is no bidding war where the guy can't go nowhere, he going to be here. They just going through the pomp and circumstances and all the rhetoric. Don't worry about that. If you got faith in your coaching staff, don't worry. You're not going to be able to sign everybody, but that's your job of your coaching staff to fill in some holes where you can't sign it. Kansas City has not stayed at the top because they assigned every free agent they had. No, they let Pro Bowl, they let a cornerback go that was all pro the previous year, and they had their replacement there because this is what you have to do. You cannot sign. So if we don't believe in the coach staff, we'll be chasing. But what I'm saying to you, fan base, is why are we talking about that? Because know who gets us talking about that? The haters. Because know what the haters throw out there? Oh, y'all ain't gonna be able to sign nobody because Dak Prescott got $60 million, which is the biggest crap in the world. But we fall for that, and we jumping around. Our fans need to have some realistic point of views for George Pickens. Oh no, I know I'm finna start a fire now because George Pickens is the do all, everything is, and I'm saying he is talented, but we already put the guy in with numbers that's gonna be he gonna get $30 million. Let me tell you something, Phil. I'm gonna tell you all this. He is talented, but there is a flaw because if it wasn't a flaw, he would still be in where? Pittsburgh. I'm not saying he can't help the Dallas Cowboys, but we already done put the guy in the Hall of Fame. We have already put expectations out there that's unrealistic. What I want him to do is come and make some plays and be a contributor to a championship team. I hear people talking about he's going to have outstanding numbers. Where at? Let me tell you, the only way he's going to have way over the top numbers is if CeeDee Lamb gets hurt and then he has to ascend to the number one wide receiver. But if this offense is spreading the ball around and giving it to the guy who's the best wide receiver, the majority of the time, maybe 65, 70 catches, maybe 1,000. But I hope he got more touchdowns. Oh, you say, well, coach, there ain't no way in the world. But okay, look at the best second wide receiver in the league. Isn't that the guy that got in Cincinnati? Look at his numbers last year. There is not enough balls to go around to say, man, we're going to have two 1,500 yard wide receivers. What? This ain't, man, I hate to say it, this is not fantasy football where people play on different teams, and this is not. If your offense is going to be balanced, I'm not talking about running, balanced. I keep trying to, it's frustrating when we talk about how much this offense is going to explode. This offense has to put some continuity together. And it's going to be based off being balanced. But if you think that this offense is going to lead you to a Super Bowl and it's going to be way overshadowed defense against Super Bowl, for all you people out there talking about that, you're going to be mistaken and you're going to fall short and you're going to go right back at the end of the season talking about, well, you know, we need a defense. Well, we can't do that. Because this is what I'm talking about our fan base. We fall for the banana in the tailpipe because that's what the pundits say, and that's what because they start getting us hype. I never heard such. I've said this on the last live stream. I never heard. Everybody says the Cowboys was a bad football team. They got George Pickens, who had a bad year last year. Because I know he's been on my fantasy football team for 2 years, 3 years. Had a bad year last year, was a number one wide receiver. They traded to get another one, and they're getting rid of him. And Pittsburgh is looking to trade for another guy, Chris Olave from New Orleans. I'm not saying George Pickens is not a great athlete or great player, could be a great player. But there's something there that didn't click. And if you come to Dallas in this spotlight, if you got any warts, it's going to show. And what Schottenheimer is trying to do is he's trying to evolve a culture to get this kid to fit in and not worried about being a superstar. Because he come in here thinking about his next contract and about he needs numbers, I really go and told him to do just as good. Because it's going to be the sum of the parts, and it's going to take sacrifice for this team to win. But if we come in here with this individual, I'm trying to get paid, we're helping to boost this attitude for all of the creators out there, all the Cowboy fans on Twitter, TikTok. Don't worry about if George Pickens gets a contract. One, it ain't our money. Two, I don't care what he gets his contract is. As fans, we don't, if it gets 5 passes or 200. Do what this team needs to do so we can get out of this 30-year drought. And that's what we need to be talking about. And I understand talking about the contract and all that stuff. That's good. That's for good ratings. And it helps your algorithms because that's what everybody's talking about. But it ain't building us. So that's where I want us to get to the point. Yes, our fan base needs a cultural change too. We don't need to get off on tangents about stuff that's not got it. Listen, Do like our coach is doing. He's making sure keeping the main thing the main thing. And I hope he's had a conversation with George Pickens and tell George Pickens, hey man, I said this on a previous video, and I'm gonna say it again. You're gonna hear Coach say some things over because they're gonna start showing their face, and I'm gonna make sure you understand this is how we go. And we're gonna keep showing examples leading back to what I have said. But I would tell George Pickens, you are a talented, young wide receiver, and we love you being here. What I need you to do is to fit in and do what your job on a great basis to help us win games. If that's catching 5 catches or 1. And if we win games and we stand with a Lombardi trophy, everybody's going to eat for a lifetime. That's what I would say. And I will hold him accountable for every time because I understand. And I would be, if I was Schottenheimer, I'm not going to be crazy and foolish to think that whatever happened in Pittsburgh can't happen in Dallas. And if your fan base don't think that, if you think that, you're crazy. That's not shooting down the young man. That's not saying he's not a great player. But whatever, he has some fault in it. And I ain't saying all of it is his fault, but he got some. Now it's time for him to let that talent show. And what it's going to show is that he could be a team. Because I'm going to be honest with you. He already lost some of his money because he got traded out of Pittsburgh. They're going to hold that against him. But I think the young man could do some great things. So, yes, the fan base needs a cultural change. We need to be more solid about the main thing, about winning, and not get caught up in the wee-woos that this other media is giving us. They're us a bunch of crazy stuff. You know, once they start feeling that your team is a little bit better, or they have to evaluate offensive line, they're like, this offensive line could be good. Then they start shooting stuff out there by Dak Prescott is the 17th best quarterback. Then they start shooting out stuff about just outlandish stories. Then after a while, they're going to start shooting out there. Is it going to be a problem? How many next article you're going to get is how many catches you think Pickett's going to get this year? And then somebody going to say, oh, I can see him getting over about 100 catches this year. Or is he going to get better numbers than CeeDee Lamb? Because he's going to get one-on-one coverage. Watch these now. And guess what we're going to do as a fan base? We're going to fall for it and start talking about it. Like I said, do not let people that don't like the Cowboys give you ideas or criticize players or give you false narratives and you bring it back into the house and argue with your Cowboy fan base. Don't take that from Cowboy fans. Don't take these false narratives and then come back and spend a whole lot of time wasting on shows that's false narratives. Listen, one thing you ain't gonna ever hear Coach Marv do. I know Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback in this league. Numbers is gonna show it after his career is done. We can't judge him on wins because wins are not just quarterback generated. They're team generated. But guess what? I'm not going to get in I did that with Tony Romo. And people ask me, well, Tony Romo. I got into this thing a long time ago. And some of y'all Cowboy fans see, we had Tony Romo, and people forget that Tony Romo used to go through a lot of crazy stuff because even though he had great numbers, and His numbers are better than Eli Manning. But I know you're going to say, well, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Did what Eli Manning really do in those Super Bowls? He had great defense, and a guy caught a ball on top of his helmet that he just threw the ball up in the air. Come on, man. Let's be realistic, man. But what I'm trying to get to you is, man, don't get caught up in going back and forth on with people trying to defend Dak Prescott. Dak ain't worried about it. Why we worried about it? Don't you know people just say stuff, man, just to get you, and then they say stuff, then our fans keep hearing it and keep hearing it, and we keep reading it, and then after a while, we start believing it. That's what I'm saying. If you hear this negative stuff, man, don't worry about that, man. Don't raise your, don't get so, y'all probably saying Coach getting his blood pressure hype, talk about don't go do this, but it's the same thing. I don't even get into that, man. I see these outlandish stuff, man. I don't see Cowboy fans get up here and some content creators, man. And listen, I love all of them. I'm never gonna name the names, but I've seen some talk about, man, they got Pickens and this and that, and they got Cowboy gear on, and they're like, but it's all gonna come down if Dak is gonna be able to give us it. And it, just like you say, Dwayne, we could look at other games and we like, how can you talk about Dak in his career on all these? It's team, man, have to win. Tom Brady ain't always had a great game in the playoffs, in the games that he won. Every playoff game, Patrick Mahomes ain't had a great game. They won games. Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl and didn't have a great game the whole time he was in the playoff run. Well, that's not saying that they're not great quarterbacks. But come on, man. But here I am again. They done got me caught up in that defensive type thing. And you can best believe Coach Marv is not going to dedicate shows to getting rid of crazy statements by pundits out there that either our Cowboy fans and they're imposters, or guys that can't stand Dallas and they just trying to, just throw something out there for us because they want our fan base to respond. I'm not even going to all that. So, but I am excited about what Michael Irvin said, getting back to what we were saying. Yes, our fan base needs to have a culture change, but I am excited about what Michael Irvin said because he sees that this guy's leaning on a identity that is not that you want to be just like them. He's not trying to copy the great teams, but he's trying to copy the mental toughness in a place that is in a pressure cooker. He kept saying that. It's so much pressure here. And he wants his team, he sees that Schottenheimer wants his team to understand from the past greats how you can deal with that pressure and climb that mountain and perform when everybody is gunning for you. Mental toughness. Number 3 in my building blocks. Number 1 was physicality. We'll see that even more. We heard Schottenheimer talk about being tough and being physical. He'll get to that when we start putting those pads on. Discipline. He talked about that the other day about, man, he was in a press conference. He said, hey, even Dak needs it. We got some things we're working on with Dak. He said that if a quarterback feels that he has arrived, He needs to think it's time for him to think about retirement. He said the culture ain't built with one player. That's discipline. He trying to get to the discipline. It's gonna be some more discipline things, but I see where he's dealing with the mental toughness, competition. That builds mental toughness. You keep hearing that word competition. Competition means when you got some good players around you, that means you're gonna lose some battles. But are you mentally tough to come back and win? And you're gonna win some battles? Are you mentally tough to continue to keep winning? It ain't about just recovering when you lose. It's learn how to stay on top when you're on top. Coaching and leadership. He touched on that. He said they're trying to teach their players how to practice. He believes that practice is the essential of how you play. And he done brought a whole set of brand new coaches in here. And they went and got a Pickens, because Pickens is talented. But as Michael said, everybody's talented. Dwayne, didn't he say that? Everybody's talented. Dwayne said in the chat, he said he listened to the thing. Everybody's talented. Michael Irvin said everybody's talented. And it's going to come down to who got that grit and that toughness, mental toughness, under pressure to come out on top. That's why this game with NFL and football is a lot more mental. And I always say, it's what's between the two ear holes of that helmet that's going to tell the story. So we can talk about going out here getting this player and getting that player, but the talent margin for every good, when you get to good teams, there is no talent difference. It's about what man is tougher than the next man. It's about what man is more disciplined to not make mistakes. What man is tougher mentally to take your blows and give you blows and win the battle. What man gonna get the best leadership and the best coaching from the sideline. And then we're gonna see how these two talented people battle and who come out on top. That's what the Cowboys need. And you can't get that from Family Dollar or Dollar General. You got to get that from the mud. I'm going to leave y'all with two words. And I should have put them into the description. And if I got some people out there, listen to these two words, because they're going to come up again with Coach Marv. I'm going to bring them to the surface again. If the Cowboys want to have a successful season and they're building these building blocks, they're going to have to do it with the two D's. The two D's and pause. There's no Diddy. I hate to say it that way. But hey, the two D's. That's desire and determination. Desire and determination. Determination and desire. Those are two things that are going to get this team over the hump. Desire, everybody got desire. I bet you everybody in the organization right now desire to win, desire to have a Super Bowl, desire to get a better contract, desire to be, all pro, desire to be all pro bowlers and everything. Yeah, everybody desire to, because the desire is built into the mind. All our fans desire for us to be a championship team and for us to be going around and saying we are the champions. Yeah, everybody desire. That's built in the mind. So that's easy. But when it comes down to the word determination, that comes from the heart. That comes when adversity hits. That comes when things don't go your way. That comes when people get in your way. That comes when you dealing with somebody just as good as you. That's when adversity comes in. That comes in when you doing good that you got to continue to do good. You got to be determined to keep it on top. That's when you got to be determined to come from the mud. Everybody got desire sitting in the air condition. But determination is going to be found out when you get out there in that heat. And these building blocks I talk about, a culture, is going to find out who's determined to get where they need to get to. Now, I heard some, I see some things out there where people out there chatting out there talking about Murray and Osa was saying about it's talking about how they gonna stop the run, how they was talking about they gonna stop the run. Again, I heard from Osa, I heard it from Murray. 11 guys on defense to stop the run and to be able to not let team make a living running the ball on you. And if that mentality is with a few guys and not all 11, we're not gonna be good run stopping team. But when everybody gets on page and everybody's everybody got the desire to stop the run on defense because then heard by everybody. So everybody, oh yeah, we know we need to stop the run. But everybody needs to be determined to say, you're not gonna make a living running the football on us. They ain't say you're gonna stop people for every day, but do not gonna make a living running the ball on us. It's gonna be so tough for you to run the ball on us. It's gonna hurt your determination to keep trying. Desire and determination, when you hear people talking about their will is broken, that is what's broken. When somebody said they imposed their will on you, that means they imposed their will and they broke your desire and your determination to be able to keep on going. Now we dominate. Listen to Coach Marv, man. He's going to tell you how it's broken down and what it leads into. When teams say they breaking your will, they taking your desire and your determination away from you. And if you got that grit and that badness, and you got that mental toughness to have the true desire and the true unbreakable determination, you could dominate in the league and be very good. Over and over and over again. As I always said, thank you so much for the people that's in the chat. David, Dwayne, CW, thank you. Yes, control the clock, control the football game. Yes, control the blueprint of the game, man. That goes back to if you look at talking about control the game, look at my last video, 3 C's of a good offensive line. 3 C's of a good offensive line. Continuity, confidence, and control. Yes. Check that video out. And that's all is being built off the first foundation. Rico, like I said, Dwayne, Tim, common sense, yes, man. Appreciate you, man. Big time, man. That's right, man. We as a whole need to get out of it, man. Let's get out of this, man. I leave you with the last points. I leave you with the last point. Cowboy Nation, let's don't fall for the wee-woos. A lot of these stories is being put out there that they're talking about, all these rumors and all this stuff is being put out. And when they start talking about contracts and and this and that and what we gonna do, how we gonna sign this guy because this guy's of it. If the Cowboys want them, they're gonna be here. Millionaires and billionaires have not gotten to be millionaires and billionaires because they think short term in plans. It may not be the way we like it, but they got plans. But what those plans is we got to do what Al Davis said a long time ago. Just win, baby. So let's not, if our voice matters, man, let's not get out there and voice matters for our players to have these big shows and we talk about if a guy gonna get paid or we gonna let a guy go and all this stuff, man, because that Schottenheimer is fighting that but with everything he's gotten in that locker room because he don't care nothing about the future. Yes, he cares about the future, but he cares about making the main thing right now and being locked in and focused 1 through 75, because I say 75 because it takes 70 guys to win a championship because the practice squad guys are going to be just important and that may change. He's trying to get them to be locked into a culture that is the main thing, and living in the moment. So let's live in the moment. Let's talk about what's going this team right here and pushing this team to do better. And let's follow these cultural things. And I want y'all to see them and in y'all things. When y'all see them, send Coach Marv a message, man. Send Coach Marv a message on YouTube, man, and say, hey, Coach, I see the physicality. Coach, you're trying to be set. Coach, I see discipline trying to be set as a coach. I heard the coach say that. Talk about that. Coach, I see they talk about that mental toughness thing again. They talk about some area about mental toughness. Coach, I see, man, when they talking about coaching and leadership, they keep pressing that. Coach, I can see that we got better talent than what people think. And they're rising the talent of some guys on this team. Yes. This team is talented. But this team is mentally tough. And they need to be put in the grind. Because they're going to get everybody's best shot. And they're always on the sun. All the planets surround the sun. The sun is the brightest star in the solar system. And that's where we are. We on the sun. We don't need no putting no spotlight on us. You ever heard somebody putting high beams on the sun? They don't need to do that. They're the sun. But like I said, man, I always want to try to cut this off within an hour. I may have to try to cut these down a little bit shorter, man. Once I started being able to learn how to put these videos things together with it, because I got a lot of stuff that's coming out, man. That's coming out. Hopefully, Big Time is out there. Hopefully, we're gonna get together and collab on certain things, man. We're gonna put a show together, and we're gonna be able to, to hash it out and talk about some of these points. But like I said, man, we have some great content creators out there. Big Time Show, Boss Cowboy, man, Amp Sports, Henny, Landlord, Law Nation, J Tuck, Rome, JC Cowboy, Stargazy. Oh man, we got from all genres and people that Skywalker, Vosh. Oh man, we got content creators, man. That I probably West Coast Cowboy. Every last one of them, I probably have touched base with them on their show in some type of way, and I have learned so much from them because they're so talented in what they do. But I've learned in coaching that yes, I know the X's and O's, and I know about technique and all that. But I understand when I look at this team for the last 5 years, I think we could have been coached better with some X's and O's. But I want the X's and O's, but I wanted to see who's going to make this team ready and push this team to handle the pressure that they have. Like I said, fellas, fans out there, thank you so much for your time. Please like, comment. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for all your comments that you have said, man. Thank you for all your I do go back and I read the comments, man, to uh um uh trench warfare, yeah, warfare, yeah. Uh that goes with Dwayne, that goes with what I always say, man. When we get into training camp, those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. And I don't think some people understand that. Those who work harder and put more effort when things are at peace, when things are not we ain't into the pressure pack things yet. Those who put more work in, when things get heated, they're gonna have less failures when things get heated. And that's why I say those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. And I got that from a great coach of mine. There was in college, we had a great defensive coordinator, and he was a great defense coordinator. Was the Greg Richardson. He just passed not too long ago. Great defense coordinator. Uh, Great defense coordinator for Norfolk State, for many colleges in the HBCU thing. Man, he was outstanding. There's a lot of innovators that came out of HBCU coaching that people don't understand. Matter of fact, the zone read that people talking about, all that zone read running, came from an HBCU coach. So listen, man, the run and shoot came for an HBCU coach. The gunslinger, the coach that Mississippi Valley State with Jerry Rice, Archie Cooley. Um, it's a lot of stuff, man, that's come that we get a lot of stuff that's taken from us when we look at the history. It was great. I want to also say right quick, I made a post on Facebook, not Facebook, but on Twitter, on X, when I reposted Logic Cowboy. Logic Cowboy, I don't know, he don't know me, but I watch a lot of his stuff. He is a very big time Cowboy fan. If anybody go out and subscribe, I'm giving credit to people that maybe, but when you go out and subscribe, when you see something, you tell them, say, hey, Coach Marv, Real Talk led me to you. But I put out I retweeted when he talked about the great game. And please, big time show, everybody, please go out there and look on X when I reposted that video out there of him talking about and I didn't do it because I couldn't do it, but I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it when I get off here. About Logic Cowboy. Go back when he just did a post about the greatest game in Cowboy history, when Tom Landry then played the Redskins. I mean, it was the Redskins at that time and came back. And man, Tom Landry was a innovator when it came to offensive football. If Schottenheimer, and listen, that stuff was before its time. Schottenheimer could bring some of that stuff back with the utilization of the running backs out of the backfield, the tight ends. His offensive mind and defensive mind was legendary. That's what made the Cowboys. But guess what? He was a Christian man, but he was one of the biggest, toughest disciplinarian a-holes that you could find as a head coach. And he was very respected. And he was trusted. Remember what I told you, man, in coaching, you rather be respected and trusted. The love and like will come later on. But be trusted and respected by your players. Until next time, people, love y'all. Thank you for so much for putting it in there in the chat, man. Thank you for all y'all have done, man. Go root for the Spartans, man. Hey, I'm a Norfolk State grad, man. I'm gonna make sure I tell this. I'm a Norfolk State Spartan. I played for the great coach Willard Bailey in Norfolk State, one of the great black innovators as a coach um, at Norfolk State. He was a graduate. He came back from, but his Coach Bailey was greatest accomplishments at Virginia Union. Matter of fact, he coached Herb Scott. Herb Scott and Malcolm Barnwell, but Herb Scott was a great offensive lineman for the Cowboys that should be in the Hall of Fame. Check him out. Number 68 was dominant with Rayford Wright, but Herb Scott should be in the Hall of Fame. Look him up in his career stats. He should be in the Hall of Fame, and he played under Coach Bailey at Virginia Union. So, like I said, man, Norfolk State grad, yes, Michael Vick is in town. Same thing again. We still got to build a culture there. Same stuff. Talent's not going to win it. Fame ain't going to win it. Build culture underneath all that fame and talent, and you'll be successful. Until next time, I salute all y'all. Thank you for watching. Like I said, share this video, share it with your friends, and let's see if we can get those subscribers up. I'm trying to get to 300 subscribers in the next maybe week. Man, and now I'm at 224, maybe 225. If you're watching this, and once I share it to Twitter, if you're a friend of mine on Twitter, repost it on X and tell people, say, hey, just don't watch the video, just don't follow Coach Marv on X. Go over to the YouTube channel and be a subscriber there as well, and send me a request on Coach Marv on my Facebook, Coach Marv on Facebook. Man, we're trying to get it out there, trying to keep pushing it out there. As I say, man, thank you so much. Salute. I'm out.